we have been studying different strategies to help us solve two-digit addition problems. We learned about using pictures or drawings to solve those problems yesterday. Today, we are going to use number bonds and equations to help us solve those problems. My hope is that we'll get better at solving them quickly and eventually be able to solve them in our heads.
Using number bonds and equations to add two-digit numbers. Yesterday, we used pictures to show addition. Here you can see there are pictures of base 10 blocks that show the number 43 and 36. To add them together, all I have to do is count them all together. However, there's a bit of a faster way that we could solve this equation, and that's what we're going to be discussing today, are ways to get to mental math, which is when we do the math in our heads. Our first step when trying to do this strategy is to use number bonds to break a number into friendly tens. Here I have an equation. 11 plus 13 equals blank. My first job is to break that number 13 into 10 and 3. So now I've made myself a friendly 10, and I can use that friendly 10 to add it easily to the number 11. My first step is to add 11 plus 10 equals blank. I'm pretty good at adding tens in my head now, so I know that 11 plus 10 equals 21. Now I'm ready for the second step. The second step is to take that amount I just found in step 1, so 21, and add that to the total that's left over. So I have my 21 plus blank, and now I'm noticing that this 3 is the amount that we have left over. So that is what I add to 21 to solve my problem. 21 plus 3, I can count up and I get 24. That's my answer, so I need to make sure I go back and write my answer to the equation above.
So there are two steps to these types of problems. You break numbers apart using the number bonds, then use the friendly tens to help solve the problem in a faster way.
This activity says, solve the problems in 2 steps using number bonds, friendly tens, and counting on. So there are a lot of steps to these problems, which means they could be a little confusing. But don't worry, I'm going to try to help you by color coding things as we go. So you'll notice, number 1, a lot of the numbers are filled in here for you. The equation says 14 plus 13. Now, a way to do this quickly and in your head is to break the number 13 into a 10, and then how many ones are left over, which you can see is already done. So then your first job for that is to add together the 14 and that 10 that we just made. You can see that that's already been done for you. 14 plus 10 equals 24. We're at the point in the year where you might be able to do that in your head already, because you know adding a 10 just means bumping the tens from the 1 up to 2. Now you can see there's one little number here that's left over. This is our leftover amount, and this is the number that we are going to write in the second part. You can see that in this example, it's already been done for you. 24 was our answer from number 1, and so that got put into equation number 2. And in the second step, it says 24 plus 3, because the 3 is the little leftover part. So if you think about that, you can just count up 24, 25, 26, 27. That's your answer. I also want to make sure I go back to the top and I write my answer next to this equation as well, so that I solve the problem here. Let's try number 2. My first job was to break the number 13 apart into a 10 and then the 3 ones for that number. So my first step is to use this 10 and add it to the 24. Because I can do that in my head, and I know that that answer is 34. Now I have 34, and I have this little extra amount over here that's 3. So that is my second equation, 34 plus 3, which I can easily do in my head. 34, 35, 36, 37. I counted on to get the answer 37. I wrote 37 both on the second step and up at the top. You can see in number 3, things get a little bit more complicated because I have left some blanks here. But don't worry, we're going to do this together. You can see I've already broken the number 13 into a 10 and 3 ones. So my first job is to take this first number here and add that to the 10 I just made, because I can do that in my head. 16 plus 10, that's pretty easy. That equals 26. So now I need to take that amount, 26, and write it here. Then I need to look at this little extra amount here, which is 3, and add that to 26, which I can do by counting on. 26, 27, 28, 29. That's my answer. So I'm going to write that here and make sure I go back up to the top and write it there. Things get a little bit more complicated as we get to the bottom because there are more blanks. I'm going to help you by color coding these so you know what to do in step 1. In step 1, you'll need to add your 10 to the number 26. So your first equation will be 10 plus 26. Then that 3 is here. So you need to add the total from 10 plus 26, which is 36, to the number 3 to get your answer. I want you to give number 5 and number 6 a try, but if this seems too complicated for you, do not worry about it, because this is just a strategy. You could also instead just draw pictures, quick drawing, or use the base 10 blocks to solve the equation instead. So I just drew a quick drawing for 15 and 12 because I'm a little confused by these steps. That's fine. Now you just count the ones and count the tens and write your answer. Make sure you answer the equation though.
This might seem a little more complicated than drawing pictures, but maybe it's not for you. Remember, this is just another type of strategy that will help you solve two-digit addition problems. But it's not the only one. Some people might prefer drawings. Some people might prefer to use number bonds and equations to get to mental math. There are also some new strategies for solving these problems that we're going to learn pretty soon. My hope is that you will find a strategy that works well for you.